Hey there, it's JohnBerry555 and welcome to my review of the 3 episode premiere of Star Wars Andor. So yeah, I had considered breaking these reviews up, or these 3 episodes into 3 separate reviews, but I decided against it because all these episodes, despite being 3 individual episodes, all tell one complete story. In many ways, this is an elongated first part of the hero's journey, the call to action, or the call to adventure. That's essentially what's going on here. And it's kind of paralleled in a sense, well, because we do have flashback scenes, and these are all spoilers. But basically, we're seeing 2 parallel journeys for Cassie in this. Him as a child, that puts him into that eventually will get him to the situation of these 3 episodes, and then we will see essentially his call to action to fight against the Empire more than just occasionally steal something from them, but actually fight against them. That is what we're seeing here. It's very much the introduction to who Cassian Andor is at this point in his life. Um, and then we'll see him grow to become the person that we will see in Rogue One. That I think is the main story we're going to see. We're going to see Cassian develop into the person we know he will become. We just gotta see that grow. And that's, I think, what's the heart of these stories are going to be. But also, we're getting a sense too of what life really like is under the Empire. Because the main events are set only about 5 years before the Battle of Yavin. So that tells us we're pretty close to the time. So that literally means the Rebel Alliance is starting to get formed. Over on the Saw, the Phoenix so is doing their stuff. The Ghost School, I think so. They're not. The Ghost School hasn't met up, but they're doing their stuff. Like all that stuff is happening almost simultaneously. This is maybe about a year or two before that in the timeline, but we're seeing contacts being made. Cassian, through one of his friends, Bix, gets in contact with a person who recruits Cassian, and we know from the trailer that he will also be working with Mon Mothma, and so we're going to see eventually the Rebel Alliance start to form a bit more, probably paralleling the stuff in Rebels. I would love to get some callouts to Star Wars Rebels too, like like you mentioned that. Oh, did you hear that a bunch of rebels over in the Star System took down a Star Destroyer? Tarkin's own Star Destroyer. I love to hear things like that being mentioned. Um, Only because I think that would be a very unique way of building the world and showing that this stuff is happening concurrently with other events that we have seen on screen already, even if it is animated. And Star Wars Rebels, good show, by the way, you can check out my reviews. I have a whole playlist of them. But getting back to talking about Andor is very much he is not he is making decisions, but they're all generally in reaction to something he has to respond in order to stay alive. Essentially, that's what all his actions are: staying alive. He's not making a choice to no. He's not yet making choices yet that will put him in certain positions that will make his choices. Cassian is not yet at the point where he's forwarding the plot of his own show. He's not there yet. It's everyone around him that is forwarding the plot, from the corporate police, basically, or more glorified security. But they're forwarding the plot. Bix a little bit, but also Bix's boyfriend, who's jealous of Andor, he forwards the plot. Cassian's adopted mother forwards the plot. Everything that we see here, Cassian is not forwarding the plot on his own accord yet. It's all the people around him. He may be contributing to the plot. I mean, we're definitely seeing that a little more near the end. But very much, he is not forwarding his own plot yet, which makes sense. That's where he's going to end up, I'm sure. Because he forwards his own plot a lot more in Rogue One, that final thing in his character journey. We're not there yet, I think, in these 3 episodes of Andor, but I think we're going to see that stuff develop. We're going to see more Cassian making choices that forwards his own plot. And that, I think, is what the story for Andor, for Cassian himself, that's what his character story will be. Now, we're also going to be, I'm assuming, seeing the greater development of the Rebel Alliance story, so the more, lack of better term, geopolitical plot. But also, I have a feeling we're going to come back to Ferrex. Why? Because we see the corporate police basically are like, they're out for blood now. They've been humiliated, so all those who showed up, they're going to want to, go. They're going to want to probably convince the superiors to do more on Ferrix to maintain law and order. And we're going to see, and I think we're seeing the residents of Ferrix. They'll also get even more skeptical of the corporate police. Who, by the way, act very much like police. I mean, let's be real. They're not actually police, they glorified security, but they're given some policing powers. I mean, and they're just bullies. You give them an inch of power and they take a yard. They very much fit the mold of a bully. And in some small towns I know in the United States, the police are the former high school bullies. They want power. That's probably not always going to be the case, but the sad thing is, this is someone commenting on the state of policing in the United States, well, not necessarily. Well, sometimes the police are more, they police them for the benefit of the rich and powerful, for the corporations, not necessarily for the average person. But that's more failures in policy, not intentional, like it is with these corporate security police forces, wherever. But the thing is, in the United States, is many cases the police are there not to serve and protect, but because they want power, and that's a tragedy. And hopefully, we can reform the police so that's not an issue. But going back to Star Wars, I have a feeling we're going to see more conflict develop in the background on Ferrix, and we're going to see it somehow draw Cassian back. And probably also involving the Empire, probably, start of a rebel cell even. It's very possible. I think that's going to help contribute to the story. Because after all, it wouldn't make sense for from a storytelling perspective to show a rebel cell that Cassian is familiar with to be on a planet he's never even heard of or never been to. It makes more sense for it to develop from people he knows, and then that way, when the Rebel Alliance needs to contact them, they can send Andor Cassian because he knows. And that's, I hope, the way the story goes, and seeing the development of the Rebel Alliance. But overall, this is actually a very good series premiere. After I finished watching it, even while I was watching it, I was like, so what am I going to say? I honestly did not quite know what I was going to say, but eventually I figured it out and I presented my review. That's the conclusion of my thoughts for this 3-episode premiere of Andor. And I would like to hear from you. Let me know in the comment section down below. What did you think of Star Wars Andor? I would love to hear from you. Also, be sure to like, share, comment, upvote, subscribe. All the normal YouTube stuff. Checking out the links down below. And I would like to say thank you for watching, and as always, have a good day, a good night, wherever you are. May the Force be with you, always. So thank you for watching. If you haven't done so already, feel free to like, upvote, share, subscribe, follow, heart. You know the drill. Check out the links down below. And as always, have a good day, a good night, wherever you are. May the Force be with you, always.